Keep your filthy hands off my vintage clutch. Ilara Vance's voice, sharp and high, sliced through the quiet atmosphere of the premium cabin. On Flight 902, the loud, sickening sound of a slap instantly followed, echoing like a breaking pane of glass. 8-year-old Chloe Benson recoiled, stumbling back slightly, her small hand flying instinctively to her stinging cheek, her eyes wide with shock and pain, immediately filled with tears. The hand that struck her belonged to Ilara, a woman in her 50s, impeccably dressed and radiating a vicious anger. Chloe's twin brother Cameron, barely 4 feet tall, instantly positioned his small frame between his sister and the furious stranger, his arms spread wide, a futile, trembling defense. "Please don't hurt her," he pleaded, his voice cracking. Around them, passengers in the front section were momentarily stunned. Phones emerged, a professional man in CF3B began recording. An attendant, Mark, rushed toward the disturbance. "Ma'am, please step back." "What is happening?" Mark demanded, his voice stern. Ilara whirled around, her expensive accessories swinging wildly. "What is happening? These children are unaccompanied in this section, and this one dared to touch my property. They should be removed immediately." The undeniable red mark on Chloe's cheek was visible to everyone. "Ma'am, did you strike this child?" Mark asked, his composure wavering. She was aggressive. "These children have no manners and no business here. I want them off this flight." Ilara shrieked. A calm, older voice spoke from a nearby seat. "I saw it all. The child's hand grazed your bag by pure accident, and you assaulted her, realizing she had gone too far." Ilara quickly shifted tactics. "Where is their mother? What kind of neglectful parent leaves minors alone up here? When you find her, I demand she be arrested for child abandonment." Cameron, sobbing, tried to reassure everyone. "Mom didn't abandon us. She is coming." Mark knelt briefly to check Chloe's face, then stood, his voice hardening. "Ma'am, return to your seat. The pilot will be notified." The pilot, Ilara scoffed. "I want the CEO. My husband is Mr. Alistair of Global Holdings. I guarantee that when I am finished, you will all lose your jobs." The recording passenger called out a challenge, but Ilara ignored him, pulling out her phone. "Alistair, get the lawyers." Zenith Airlines Flight 902 were suing everyone. Holding each other tightly, the twins were left trembling as Ilara settled back, utterly unaware that the mother she was demanding to see, mother she wanted criminally charged, was the woman who had the power to dismantle Ilara's entire world. In a few short hours, Eva Williams was going to show Ilara the true meaning of consequences. To understand the devastating confrontation, the story must begin 6 hours earlier. Eva Williams, 38, elegant and formidable, stood in her spacious residence, helping her twins pack for the western coast. She was the chief executive officer of Zenith Airlines, one of the industry's most respected leaders. "Cameron, you have your device charger?" she asked patiently. "Yes, Mom." Eva knelt, giving them final instructions. "There's an emergency at the central hub. I have to handle it personally, but you will fly directly on Flight 902 with Miss Faye." She pins small gold-tone future flyer pins onto their shirts, remember? "You are part of the Zenith family. Everyone on that plane is there to keep you safe." An hour later, Miss Faye, an experienced attendant, met them at the gate. Eva hugged her children fiercely, reminding them to be polite and respectful, then rushed to her own flight. She had an airline to run, a crisis to manage. Oblivious to the far greater crisis unfolding on her children's flight, Miss Faye settled Chloe and Cameron into seats 2A and 2B. They pulled out a game and quietly played. Everything was routine until Ilara Vance boarded. She approached her seat to see next to Cameron, her displeasure evident the moment she saw the children. "Excuse me," Ilara snapped. She pushed roughly past Cameron and threw herself into her seat. Miss Faye approached. "Good morning, ma'am. May I assist you?" "You can explain why there are unsupervised children in the first section." Ilara demanded. "They are accompanied by an attendant, and they are welcome passengers here." Ilara pulled out her phone, speaking loudly. "Yes, I'm seated next to children in this cabin. The world is certainly falling apart." Cameron stiffened, feeling the hostility. Chloe squeezed his hand. The plane took off. Later, when Cameron reached for his device bag, his elbow brushed Ilara's arm. "Watch it," she hissed, rubbing her arm dramatically. Chloe leaned forward. "I'm sorry for my brother, ma'am. It was an accident," Ilara muttered loud enough to be heard. "These children have no place here." Mark, the attendant, offered to move Ilara, but she refused, insisting the children should move. When Cameron needed to use the lavatory, Ilara deliberately took her time letting him out, commenting on the inconvenience. When he returned, she had placed her expensive clutch on his seat. "Excuse me, ma'am, that's my seat," Cameron said, tears welling up. "I'm using it for my bag. Go sit elsewhere," Ilara commanded. Chloe stood up. "Please move your bag. That is my brother's seat." "Sit down, little girl." "This doesn't concern you," Mark approached, his voice steel. "Ma'am, remove your property from that seat immediately." Ilara looked up at Miss Faye, who was standing nearby. I suppose you people always stick together, don't you? The cabin fell silent, the racial slur hanging heavy in the air. Miss Fay, restraining her anger, repeated, "Remove your bag from that seat." A few minutes later, the plane hit minor turbulence. Cameron's hand jerked, and a small splash of juice landed on the divider near Alara's bag. "Alara," exploded, "you little brat." She grabbed Cameron's arm. "Don't touch my brother," Chloe shouted. Reaching over, Ilara's free hand swung back and connected with Chloe's face. The slap echoed. Chloe stumbled back, crying from the shocking pain. Mark rushed over. "Ma'am, you have just assaulted a minor. This is a federal offense. She attacked me. I was defending myself." Ilara screamed. Passengers erupted. The man in 3B confirmed he had recorded the entire incident. Ilara, now desperate, yelled, "I want their mother arrested. I want to speak to the CEO of this airline." Miles away, Ava Williams finally checked her phone. 23 missed calls. She immediately called Miss Fay. "Ava, there's been an incident." A passenger struck Chloe across the face. Ava's world dissolved into a focused, terrifying clarity. "Which passenger? Which flight are they?" "Hurt flight 902 physically." "They're safe, but Ava," she hit her. Ava hung up, already running. "Get me to the Western Coast. Now I want everything on that flight, including the video footage sent to my tablet on her emergency flight." Ava watched the grainy cabin video, her daughter trying to protect her brother, and Alara's hands swinging back. The image of the slap was unforgivable. Ava immediately contacted her legal team. "File full criminal charges, assault on a minor. I want the full weight of the law on this. Ban her from Zenith Airlines for life." Flight 902 landed. The pilot announced that law enforcement would be meeting the aircraft. Ilara, defiant, stood up. "They can't do this to me. My husband will sue this airline." As the jetway door opened, 2 airport security officers boarded. Ilara immediately pointed at the twins officers. "Thank goodness. I need to press charges against these children and their negligent mother. I've been assaulted." The tall officer looked at her calmly. "Ma'am, we are actually here regarding an assault complaint against you." Ilara's mouth fell open. "That's ridiculous. I want to speak to the person in charge." At that moment, Ava Williams walked down the jetway, her heels clicking with lethal authority. She walked past her children and Miss Fay without stopping, her focus fixed entirely on Ilara. Ilara, mistaking her for a mid-level manager, began ranting finally. "Are you management? I need to file a complaint about those children and your abusive staff. I demand." Ava stopped, her eyes locking onto Ilara. Her voice was quiet, but it filled the cabin with power. "I am management. I am Eva Williams, CEO of Zenith Airlines." Ilara's face went white. "You're the CEO?" "I am. And those children you assaulted are my children." Silence. "I didn't know," Ilara stammered. "You didn't know or you didn't care?" Eva's voice was pure ice. "You assaulted my 8-year-old daughter on my airline. You have video evidence and a dozen witnesses. I am pressing full criminal charges." "My husband will sue," Ilara shrieked. Eva stepped closer. "Your husband can try, but you're about to find out that money does not buy immunity from consequences." The officers placed handcuffs on Ilara's wrists. She was LED through the airport, weeping outside. Ilara saw her husband, Mr. Alistair. "Alistair, tell them who we are." Alistair looked at her with cold contempt. "I've seen the video, Ilara. It's gone viral. My firm's stock is dropping. I cannot protect you from this. Our lawyers will be in touch regarding our divorce." He turned and walked away, leaving her to face her shame alone. Eva Williams watched until Ilara was gone. She then turned, walked back to her children, and hugged them tightly. Later, she held a press conference announcing the $5 million donation to fight discrimination. Justice was served. The children were safe and on every Zenith flight. The new rule was clear: everyone belongs in the front cabin.